Okay, just going to do a little snowboard design tutorial using Google SketchUp. This is focused on people who aren't familiar with SketchUp. I've been using it for a little while, a couple years, and kind of figured out a few tricks to just quickly get ideas down or tweak things. And with more and more people building their own boards these days and using cheaper and cheaper CNC machines, I thought it might be helpful. So skibuilders.com, great website, great forum, lots and lots of experience on here, lots of really unique takes on how to build different components for your setup, your shop, different materials and whatnot. Definitely highly recommend this website if you're getting into board building. So this is just going to be very brief and quick, and I'm not going to focus too much on what my measurements are, like what my actual design is. I just kind of want to go through the motions and show you guys. I actually just did one of these recordings, and it was half an hour long. So I'm just going to quickly try to do one that's about 10 minutes. Alright, so let's just draw something here so we can see what we're working with. Alright. So I just drew that plane so you can see what we're working with here. The tape measure is great for snapping your measurements and drawing up to them. I highly recommend using that a lot. So I like to draw just a quarter of the board when I'm doing a symmetrical board, and then copy that around 3 times so that I've got the full board. And if you're doing a directional board, you would just draw half of it. So we're going to do a symmetrical board right now. So I need half of my length of the snowboard. And we'll go with a 150 centimeter snowboard, which will be 75 centimeters. So I'm just going to stretch that out 75 centimeters, and it snaps into place. So that's half of my length of the snowboard. Now I need to do the width. So this is, oh, there we go. So when you're pulling off, you want to make sure that you have that line there. So half of the width. We're going to go with, let's see here. You're not going to find most snowboards that are wider than 30 centimeters in the widest part. Typically 28, 20, 29, 27 centimeters, something like that. So let's say that this is a wider board and it's 29 centimeters. That would be 14.5, half of 29. Oh, snapped it in millimeters there. I'll just undo that quickly. There we go. 14.5, and I'm just going to type in centimeters. There we go. Alright, so I've got my quarter of a board here, so I'll just draw some quick lines and get rid of the rest. Google SketchUp is great because it really snaps to everything. It finds the points and the connections. I can get rid of my ruler guides too. Alright, now we're left with just the square quarter of the rough dimensions of our board. So you can go into camera and you've got all these different views, and the shortcuts are right there. They're handy when you're designing, so I'm just going to do a top-down view here. We're just going to really quickly draw a shape on this board. This is nothing specific. This is just to kind of go through the motions of how we would design this. So when that line snaps blue, it's tangent to the edge, which is great. And you can actually see, if I zoom in, that in SketchUp, what we have here is a series of straight lines that make up our curve. So when you're doing finer work, it's definitely important to be cognizant of that. And you can make those lines smaller and smaller if you want to, so that they're virtually unnoticeable. So we've got the tip of our board right there, and now we just need some side cut. Let's say I want my side cut depth to be 2.5 centimeters. The details are definitely in the design when you're doing this for yourself. So you definitely want to be specific about the numbers. And you can go on a lot of companies' websites and take a look at what they've done. They usually post that stuff, contact edge length and all that type of thing. So I'm just going to draw this in here. Nice little side cut. I just want to zoom in here and make sure that I didn't go over my measurement. And it looks like I'm good. Alright, so I've got my rough shape of the top-down dimension of my snowboard. And I'm already at 5 minutes. So Next thing we need to do is just quickly design the side profile of the snowboard. So I'm going to do that by just snapping out a line the same length here. If I hover over a corner and move out, it'll snap. So that line is exact same length as this line here. And now I'm just going to quickly draw it up into the blue axis so that connect them all together, and then you can see I've got a face, and I'm just doing this so that you guys can see clearly what I'm doing here. Alright, so we'll just go with just a straight camber board here for the purposes of being quick. The last tutorial I just recorded that was half an hour. I did a camber rocker combo, and I think that's where all the time went. So I'm going to use my tape measure. Let's say I want 2 centimeters of camber. Type that in, click enter. What I'm doing when that happens is I'm clicking on the edge, I'm pulling up, and then I'm typing in my measurement in that bottom box where it says length, and then it'll automatically go to that. So right down here you can see. And at any point, if I want to check a length, I can just, again, click on one edge and move it over, and it'll usually snap, and then it'll give me that measurement. So this is a great tool. Alright, let's say I want my camber to end, let's say at 56 centimeters from the middle. There we go. So I'm going to just draw that to there. There we go. This might be a lot of camber. Let's see. It does look like a lot of camber. But for the purposes of showing you this quickly, I'm just going to do it. Alright. Now, I might just leave a little bit of a flat spot in here, and I don't want my tip to be too high up. I'm not going to actually even make any measurements here. I'm just going to throw that in just like that. So you can see that's the bottom profile of my snowboard right there. This is the bottom of the side profile. Now what I need to do is actually thicken it to where my core will actually be, and then again we've got the top profile there. Alright, get rid of these ruler guides. I'm going to just use this tool here, and I'm going to make my core 6 millimeters at the thickest point. And then I also need to make a taper in the tip. So what I'm going to do is just delete these extra lines I don't need. Delete that one. Alright, let's say I want it to start tapering after my binding. I haven't done this yet, but let's just quickly snap a measurement out. I like a wide stance, about 24-25 inches. And even though we're working in metric here, we can just type in inches. So half of 24 would be 12. So I'm just going to make sure I put the inch sign, and then that'll snap right there. I can see, because both my profiles are lined up right where my binding will be. So that means I'm going to want it to start transitioning somewhere around here. So I'm just going to draw a quick line up to isolate this side. I'm going to just use this tool again, but this time I'm going to go to about 2 millimeter thickness, which is fairly common for tip spacers. So now I've got my 6 millimeter profile, my 2 millimeter profile. Again, I need to just go in and delete these excess lines. And this little guy here. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Alright, in the tip here I just want to make sure that it goes right to the edge. So just follow that straight, and then I actually need to connect it at a 90 from what the base angle is. And you can see it just turns pink and snaps right to it like that. And at this point I can actually get rid of this and this. Probably get rid of that. Actually, let's go back a second. Let's just get rid of that one for now so you can see what's going on here. Alright, I'm at the 10-minute mark, and this is turning into a long video again. Okay, so I need my course to taper, so I'm going to just grab that. I'm going to just have it taper in randomly. I'm going to just get rid of this excess line, make sure there's no little bit sticking out there. Looks like we're good. Now I've got my tapering core. This end actually didn't connect either because of how I pulled the measurement off there, so I just want to make sure that that actually connects. And now we can get rid of all the excess. But what we're going to do first is we're just going to draw some binding inserts in here, and then we're going to make a copy of all this so that we can easily come back and change anything we want. Binding inserts are typically 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters apart from each other, so half of that would be 2. So 2 centimeters is that one, and if this is the center of my stance, I'm going to go 2 centimeters off this side, 2 centimeters off this side, and I'm just going to plunk some little circles in there just so I've got a nice visual. Let's say 4 millimeters. There we go. And I can delete all these guidelines again now. Alright. I think that I'm going to have to break this up, so I guess that's part 1. We've got our 2 profiles.